Okay, so just continuing on from the last video, we're now going to look at question 3 and question 4. So we're going to look at solving these questions here. So let's get into question 3 now. Again, to solve this, you want to begin by factorizing it. So putting it into a pair of double brackets. And let's begin by going through our process for doing that. So you want numbers that are going to multiply to make 8 times by and b cav with -3. So 8 times by -3 is going to give you minus 24. And numbers that add to give you the middle term, which is going to be -10. You've got to make sure you include the sign before the number. That's really, really important. Okay, now your numbers here are going to be, if you're not sure, try something. Let's go and try. This is going to be wrong, but if you did try 4 and 6, well, 4 times 6, it does give you 24. You could make one of them negative, but then you can't add these together to make 10. Your numbers here are actually going to be -12 and +2, and it comes with experience, but the more you practice this, the quicker you can get these. But let's just double check this, because as we mentioned previously, it's really important we get this right. So if we go and do -12 and we times it by 2, that gives you -24, which is good. That's what you want. And if you add them together, so if you go and do -12 and you add 2 to it, you're getting bigger, so -10 is your answer, which is perfect. So that makes sense, which is good. Now we can go to our grid and go and put this all together. So if we go and draw up our grid for factorising the quadratic, the top left is your first term, so 8x squared goes up there, -3 bottom right. These two numbers, -12 and 2, can go anywhere in the grid, and -12x and 2x can go down here. Now this one, I could factorise actually either way, is not going to matter. I'm actually going to go this way because I can know that 4 goes into 8 and to -12. So let's go and do that. We can take out a 4. We can also take out an x, as always. And 4x times by 2x gives you 8x squared. And 4x times by -3 gives you -12x. 2x times by 1 gives you 2x. And 1 times by -3 gives you -3. So perfect. So your two brackets are going to be 2x take away 3, the first one, and then 4x, and it's a 1, and it's positive, so +1 in the second bracket. And then from here, we can go and solve our two equations. So again, we've got 2x minus 3, and you've got 4x plus 1. We go and solve both of these equations. So the first one, 2x take away 3 equal to 0. The second one, you've got 4x add 1 being equal to 0. So we're going to solve these two-step equations. So you want to go and get x on its own. Let's go and get rid of that +3. From both sides, +3, they cancel. You're left over with 2x being equal to 0 plus 3, which gives you 3. Opposite of timesing by 2 is to divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2, they cancel, and x is going to be equal to 3 over 2 is your solution for this one. Okay, so 1.5 or 3.2. I always leave it as a fraction just because fractions are easier to work with than decimals, but 1.5 is of course the same answer. And your second equation, let's go and isolate the x by beginning by taking away the 1 and taking away the 1. They cancel, so 4x is equal to 0 take away 1, which is -1. So x is going to be equal to divide both sides by 4 and divide by 4. You're going to be getting x being equal to -1/4, which is the same thing as -0.25 as a decimal, okay? And there we go. There's your solution. And again, just to kind of make sure we're getting this correct, you can check that your solutions are correct. So let's go and just check the second solution, because why not, and put it into the equation. And if I do it on my calculator, this is a good way of just checking it. And let's just type in up here. So you've got 8, and then you've got timesing it. So put a bracket there by x squared, and x is equal to -1/4 here. So minus, and then 1/4. And then you're squaring that because it's x squared. And then you're taking away, so take away 10, and you're timesing it by your x value, which again is of course -1/4, or which doesn't work like that, so -1/4, so 1/4. Oh, that hasn't worked out either. Sorry, I'm making a bit of a mess of this. -1/4, there we go. And if we take away 3 from this, press enter, and you can see it equals to 0, so it makes sense. And you can do the exact same thing with 3/2, okay? And you can check that your solutions do make sense. And again, just to show you again in context, right, what you've done here is you found the solutions and you found where the quadratic, it cuts the x-axis. So this is kind of, again, a bit further from what the video is actually all on about, but we've said that the quadratic is going to go through at the 2 points 3/2, which is going to be over here somewhere. Again, it's only a sketch, and then -1/4 is going to be over here somewhere. This is like grade 8 stuff, but really, right, if you can solve the quadratic and you know that a quadratic takes this shape if x squared is positive and the sad face if it's negative, we can do this, okay? But that is a bit further on. But x being equal to 3 over 2 and minus a quarter, they are your solutions. So let's go put this in. So x equal to 3 over 2 and x being equal to minus 1 over 4. These are your solutions, okay? And then on to the last one, question number 4, and that's going to be it for this video. This one should be actually the easiest one to solve because you've got everything being positive. And the same process again, you've got numbers that are going to multiply to give you 4, and you're timesing it by that 1, which is going to give you 4, and the add to make the middle term, which is positive 4. So 4 goes in there. And actually your numbers here, this is a bit more awkward, right? It's going to be 2 and 2. You've got what you call a repeated root, okay? Because 2 times 2 gives you 4, 2 add 2 gives you 4. So this one's going to be interesting. So let's go through our method. So your first term up here, last term 1, bottom right. Your two numbers, 2x can go here and 2x can go down here. Now let's go and factorize either way here. Let's go for, let's go for this way this time, because why not? We can go and take out the 2x over here. 2x times by 2x gives you 4x squared. 2x times by 1 gives you 2x. 2x times by 1 gives you 2x. And 1 times 1 gives you 1. Now this is an interesting one, because the way you write this is you've got 2x plus 1 is your first bracket. Your second bracket is the same thing, which is 2x plus 1, okay? And that is equal to 0. And that is correct, but if you want to be fancy about this, right, you're timesing 2x plus 1, because really this means you're timesing these together. You've just got 2x plus 1, and you're timesing it by itself, which means you're squaring it, and it's equal to 0. Okay, they mean the same thing. So I've just written this either as the top one or as the bottom one. They both mean the same thing. But of course, we need to go and solve this quadratic. So let's do that. You've got two equations here, this one here, and you've got this one, but they're the same thing, aren't they? So you're going to get the same solution. So let's just go and write up 2x plus 1 being equal to 0. But because you've got the same equation, you're going to get the same solution. So let's only look at the first one. You can go and take away 1, both sides. So you get 2x being equal to 0 take away 1, which is negative 1. Then you can go and divide by 2. Divide by 2. These cancel. So x is equal to minus 1 over 2, which of course as a decimal is minus 0.5. Again, I write it as a fraction because that's what I prefer to do. Now, that is your solution. And again, you can check it by putting it into your calculator. In fact, let's do that because it's a good thing to do when you first get into this. So you can sort of follow along with me and put x is minus half into this. So you've got 4 times x squared, well, x is minus 1 over 2, so minus 1 over 2. Close the bracket, and of course you're squaring it up here, so we can go and square that. And you're adding on 4 times your x value, which is minus 1 over 2, so minus 1 over 2. Oh, I've written that really badly. Minus 1 over 2, and then you're adding on 1, and hopefully equals 0, which it does. So you know that that is correct, which is fantastic. And what is interesting about this one is, if you were to sketch this, which we can go and do over here, and that's your x, and this is your y coordinate. Well, x minus a half is going to be somewhere down here. So your quadratic this time, it only touches the x-axis at one particular point. It has only got one solution. Okay, and all of the other ones, there were 2 solutions, but here you've got 1, which is x being equal to minus 1 over 2. Okay, and if you want a bit more terminology, right, because you've got the same bracket here twice, you call this a repeated root. Okay, it just means you've got a repeated solution. Okay, so that meaning the repeated solution here is minus 1 over 2. If you solved both of those, you would get minus 1 over 2 twice. So that's the last answer, x being equal to negative 1 over 2. Let's go and put it over here. X is equal to minus 1 over 2, and that is your only solution. And actually, I mentioned it on the first video that if your quadratic only has one solution, that's going to be linking to this scenario up here. So that's going to be the second scenario, okay? Which is what we've got with this one, okay? But that is it for solving quadratics, harder quadratics. Hopefully that was useful. And of course you can comment in the videos if you need to. Thank you for watching.